yo. Welcome back to the show. It's your boy Kenny. It's your boy Skips right there, man. My co-pilot, my partner in crime. We're back at you once again, doing another weekly recap, man. We're back in full effect. Yo, it's She-Hulk. That's right. She's stomping all around. She's twerking with Megan Thee Stallion. A lot of things are going down, and Megan Thee Stallion's back. And I was playing. But it's episode 6, y'all, of She-Hulk, man. And she got invited to a wedding, y'all. That's pretty much the big thing here. And I thought the one thing that was pretty funny in the opening sequence there was when it was like just Jen, attorney at law.
Oh,
she was
in
like,
the
"Oh yeah,
beginning?
I'm just gonna go as just Jen," you know. And then
Oh,
she's like,
that's
just Jen. I was like, imagine, bro, that was the name of the show. Internet trolls ablaze.
pretty much right, dude.
But yeah, man, but it's just funny. But yeah, man, so pretty much Jen gets invited by an old high school friend of hers to go to her wedding and be a bridesmaid, actually, which is, to most women out there, that's usually a pretty big honor. And who's going to turn that down? You know what I'm saying? Getting invited to a wedding and whatnot, let alone being a bridesmaid. So she accepts. Nikki's like, all right, man, do your thing, girl. But she's like, you should wear the new She-Hulk suit that the guy made for you. I'm like, yes, let me see it. But she doesn't show it. They got to tease it. They got to tease it for the Daredevil stuff, man.
Wrong place, wrong time.
You ought to see the trailers if you know. If you know, you know.
Right.
But yeah, so they're saving that. They're teasing us on that. And then, Jen does her good old fourth wall break thing. And I appreciated it because I feel exactly the same way. And I will say, even though there's negatives to discuss about it, I like that they're like, is this an inopportune time or inconvenient time for this to be in the season? Yes. But are weddings ever convenient? No. I'm like, all right, well, fine. You get points for making a good joke, even though this is not a good time for this episode right now.
Oh,
But
no.
I was like, all right, well, at least you got the good fourth wall break there. And I thought that was actually one of the better, funnier ones of the season so far. And then going on from there, she's actually at the wedding. And after she shows off her cool little polka dot dress that we've all seen from some of the promotional materials and the trailers and the art and all that shit, she got the polka dot dress. She showed off to Nikki, and now she's rocking it in She-Hulk form coming up to the wedding. And everyone's like, oh, shit, damn, girl, you look great and all this shit. And I'm like, well, duh, yeah, it's She-Hulk, man. Come on now. And then it's like, y'all know the deal. And then the one thing that I thought was a bit stoops was her friend's like, how could you show up to my wedding as She-Hulk? You're going to take all the attention away from me. I'm like, you didn't hear that she turned into the She-Hulk? Why'd you invite her? You didn't think she was going to turn into the She-Hulk?
Yeah.
You thought she was just going to hide that shit?
Yeah, I feel like she mainly invited her because she was She-Hulk. Because I think she even mentioned
She probably would have been like,
beforehand-
fuck that.
Yeah, she
cares?
mentioned
You-
beforehand like they weren't talking or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. They had grown apart. It had been like 10, 15 years since she'd been in high school or something like that. They ain't
Right.
talked. So I was like, what the hell is going on here? That's stupid. But anyway, and as we move on, Jen turns into regular Jen form, and then they go on with their bridesmaid stuff, and then, hilarity ensues, and we got some funny bits going on here and there, and then you got her. She meets this one dude that seems to be taking an interest in her and whatnot. So it looks like Jen might be getting some, might be meeting somebody new, might be meeting someone that genuinely seems to like her for her. So that's pretty cool, man. And I like that they kind of introduced that element into the show. And even though it's not necessarily deep, dramatic stuff with the character, I appreciate in the dating department and with her trying to find someone that's generally interested in her and trying to, work it out. And everyone knows, dating today in this day and age is definitely so much different than it has been in the past, and it's a whole new thing with the dating apps and social media and whatnot. So that kind of stuff I kind of find at least appealing and kind of heartwarming in that sense. You know what I'm saying? It grounds a little bit of the silliness and some of the more goofy stuff that goes on in the series overall, as it has that tone of being that silly sitcom type stuff, situational comedy and whatnot. But as we go on from there, man, Titania ends up being invited to the wedding as well, and she's there, and we're like, oh, shit, here we go. This bitch is obsessed, man, I tell you. And then even freaking Jennifer says it later on, but she's there at the wedding, too, and saying, oh, it's not about you. I'm not going to mess around with you. I'm just here to support what's-her-face and all that shit. And I'm like, yeah, right. We know you're going to end up doing something later on. And then things continue on from there. Then Jen ends up getting super smashed, pun intended, after she ends up hitting up the bar that's cash only, which is lame as fuck. And then she has to end up paying for all the drinks like she's at a fucking bar somewhere. And then she's fucking getting hammered over here. And she forgets you're not in She-Hulk form, so you can't just drink like that. Hello.
Right.
And then as she's getting drunk and all that stuff, they're telling her that she has to be the one that has to do all the cleaning and shit because the maids or somebody left or some shit or quit. And I was like, I would have told that bitch, like, who the fuck, what do I look like to you? I'm a bridesmaid. I ain't cleaning. Bridesmaid, not maid.
Yeah, fuck
Get
that,
lost.
Dude.
And then she ends up, freaking Jen being all weak and shit, ends up giving in and doing it. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you, Jen? You shouldn't be cleaning up after these snobs and shit, these people you ain't seen in like a decade plus.
Yeah,
Fuck
fuck
these
that.
people, man. And then the girl later on, that's one of the other girl's friends, when she's all like, "Oh yeah, here's the blankets or whatever," and I'm like, "What the fuck? Who are you? Who the fuck are
Blankets.
you to tell me to clean this shit or the tablecloths, whatever it was?" And I
Oh,
was like,
okay,
"Get the
okay.
hell out of here, man! Like I ain't cleaning shit. Like I don't know what the hell's wrong with that, man. With these people. I'm
I
like, who the
guess.
hell made me the fucking maid of this shit, bro?"
Yeah, fuck that. I think they were just there to have like a plus one for cleaning ladies or something like that. Because since I guess why did they all of them leave again? Because like they didn't leave out the bride was being too much or something like that.
Yeah, she was probably just being a
She was kind of being a
bridezilla, which
bitch.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Most likely. That's like the only explanation during that time. But yeah, no, it's a lot of interesting stuff going on throughout that episode. And then she pretty much at that during that time when she was doing like the wedding, there was like another twist of with what's her face, Nikki and Amelia, like doing their course little case of what's his name, the Immortal Man, or something
Yeah,
like
Mr.
that.
Immortal, and
Mr.
that was what I
Immortal.
was gonna jump to. Yeah, I was gonna cover all the wedding stuff and jump to that. So yeah, we could transition to mostly that, and then we'll end off with the Titania stuff and all that. So yeah,
Hmm.
man. Yeah, so we jump over to Nikki and Elena. Yeah, am I saying the name wrong?
For which one?
The other lady that works at the firm with them.
Amelia.
Amelia, yeah, thank you. I said it wrong at first, but Amelia,
All
yeah.
right, you're
So
good.
Amelia and Nikki are over there dealing with Mr. Immortal, who's this dude that can apparently regenerate like he was Wolverine, and he did Weapon 9 or some shit, and he's over here that could just heal and stuff, and he just kills himself to get out of his marriages, so he doesn't have to
Hmm.
officially get a divorce and all that other shit and get bled dry. And he's done this to 10 different women. Or eight
Was it
different women,
10?
my bad.
Oh
Yeah,
fuck,
eight
that's a
different women.
lot. That's
Yeah.
a lot.
And his
Jesus
crazy ass
Christ.
is like, "Oh, I thought you guys were supposed to help me." They're like, we don't have to. We can call you out on your bullshit. We just have to represent you, you know." She's like, "We
Pretty
don't have to
much.
sugarcoat this shit." And then I love that. So that whole element I thought was funny. And then his ass just gets up and jumps out the window. I'm like, "God damn, what the hell?" And that
Oh
was pretty
yeah,
funny. And
the
I
first
remember
time.
seeing that in one of the short TV spot trailers. So that was pretty hilarious. And then he ends up just getting up like nothing happened. I'm like, okay, I get the Mr. Immortal thing. All
Hmm.
right now. And then that whole silly thing with all the rest of them where they have to get this agreement to where he has to make eye contact with one of them and all this other stuff, man. You
It's like
know,
something ridiculous.
all the silly stuff that usually goes down. And it does turn out here that I'm doing the good old Googles. Mr. Immortal is an actual character from Marvel Comics. I was thinking so.
Where does he appear at?
I was gonna pop that up right now, man. Mr. Immortal possesses the superhuman ability of immortality. Yeah, so that all goes according to it. Let's see. Let me see his publication
'Cause
history here.
where's
Looks
that
like
count?
he was introduced.
Is she like a kind of like a frogman, like kind of reference, pretty much
Yeah,
within? Okay,
he
okay.
was a leader of the Great Lake Avengers, and he was published by American Comic Books, which was a subsidiary of Marvel Comics, similar to how Vertigo is owned by DC and things like that.
Oh, okay, okay. So
Yeah. So he was introduced in the Great Lake Avengers, man, and then he did some other stuff with the Great Lake Champions, and then he was in a big storyline in the 2006 crossover that's been one of the best of all time, Civil War, and the Initiative storyline right there. And he was also a part of Secret Invasion. And they did recently did another Great Lake Avengers in 2016.
really,
Yeah,
fuck.
GLA right there. Get
Okay,
it?
okay.
GLA. So yeah, and he had recently appeared, and his most recent appearance was in the Immortal Hulk number 20. So he does have some history with the Hulk overall in the comics. So it does make sense how they pulled him over here, and I figured he was a very obscure, like C-D-list character, because that's what they've been
Hmm.
doing the entire time in this series, and that's one fun thing that I love that they're doing. That's really independent of just a storyline, but I just like that they're doing that in the MCU because that's not something they normally do as much. So I like
Mm,
they're kind of getting more into
yeah.
that in that James Gunn kind of way with him doing that with the Guardians franchise and doing that especially over there with DC. You know what I mean? So I like how we're getting a little more of that kind of more quirky energy with the characters and stuff like that. You know, just keeping it fun. We haven't seen Frogman yet, so that should be coming up soon too.
That should be next episode or probably
Yeah,
episode
and then the
8,
next three,
possibly.
man. We got this next 3 episode block here about to drop soon, man. But yeah, you got Mr. Immortal's whole court case gets settled off and all that. He settles it out of court and everything, signs that agreement. And then we jump back over to Jennifer, and she ends up getting into a big old fight with Titania herself, because Jen gets too hammered after a while and ends up puking after she's about to try to strike bust a move with the dude over there. And then Titania comes up behind her like, "Oh, get it out, girl." And then she's like, freaking cheap shots her by kneeing her in the face, sends her flying like 30 feet. And I'm like, God damn, that's a
That's some
petty
petty
ass,
shit.
that's a petty ass move right there. But hey, that's just funny. And then they end up getting into this little fight or whatever. I did
Mhm.
enjoy the fight for what it was and stuff, but yeah, man, they end up getting in this fight, and then Titania's dumbass, she ends up knocking over one of the bus boys, and then he ends up spilling a bunch of ice. And when she tries to get back up and charge towards Jennifer, she ends up slipping and falling on her face after she gets almost the shit knocked out of her earlier.
Mhm.
When freaking She-Hulk hits her with that freaking right hook, man, I was like, God damn. Hit her with
Yeah.
that left hook or that right, I think it's a left hook, yeah. Freaking knocking her ass out. Then she ends up slipping, busting her ass, smashing her face up. And I'm like, shouldn't She-Hulk's punch have smashed her face up before that, though?
Yeah.
But
I
I
mean,
digress. It's not a big, huge deal. But she smashed her face like a dumbass and had to run out of there. And pretty much, that's pretty much the big stuff for the rest of Gen for the episode there. Except we got two more little details to get through before the episode wraps up. So Nikki and Amelia over there on the internet, and Nikki's looking through some of the online stuff about She-Hulk and all that stuff, and she ends up seeing these trolls sending death threats and stuff like that, and wondering how they can, speculating on how they can kill the She-Hulk and all this other stuff, which really
oh
alarms
yeah.
Nikki and makes her get really scared. And Amelia tells her to leave her alone and not make her worry about that stuff, but Nikki knows that something's up and she needs to give her a warning. And she doesn't get a hold of Jennifer, obviously, because she's at the wedding and whatnot, hammered,
Mhm.
probably hungover at this point. And then she just, doesn't, she has to leave her a message to let her know what's going on. And then we jump on over to a quick flash of a scene of them preparing a new needle, a new syringe to try to get that She-Hulk blood, bro. But this one looks like it's going to pierce that green skin, you know what I mean?
Might do
So
some
we got some
damage. Yeah.
big stuff about to drop back into the series. And it looks like they're finally tying up that loose end and starting to incorporate that back more into the plot. But that's pretty much it for this episode 6, y'all.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's pretty much yeah. I think that's it. So yeah, man, let me know. Holla at your boy. What's your overall thoughts on the show, man? Let the people know what you think about this episode 6, yo.
I'm meh. I'm on the meh side. When we're
Meh,
talking, like it's very meh. Like
as the kids say, mid.
yeah, it's like it's extremely mid. It's like extremely mid because like I don't know. Like the show, like this episode, it was. I get like they had to have like something like that because it's what they were it's kind of like that Sex in the City type vibe.
Yeah, for
Also,
sure.
so I know for a fact there's something like this episode coming up involving with a special occasion, which in this episode was the wedding and everything so forth for it. But it was like nothing too intriguing for me. I know there's probably some people in the audience that might enjoy it,
Right,
but
right.
I know for myself, I was just like, okay, so I was mainly kind of going off. I'm like, all right, cool, we're gonna see Matt Murdock because off of the previous episode with the helmet, but we didn't get to see him. I was like, okay, so
Unfortunately not.
that definitely
I
was
knew that
like,
right at the beginning. I was like, oh,
yeah,
wedding.
yeah,
Uh,
and I'm like, there's no way Matty Boy's gonna. Well, he could have swooped her out
I
her
was
feet.
like,
No,
I don't know about this. And then once She-Hulk pulled up, I was like, nah, no, no.
there was
Once
no
she
way.
pulled
So,
up to the wedding and Titania showed up, I was like, there's no Maddie boy here.
yeah, it's definitely gonna be later on. But overall, I think the show. I mean, I was just like going through it. I was just like anticipating to see where the story was going. I really did wish, like how we mentioned before, we had like a lot more further development with the character
Mm-hmm.
because it seems like there's not a whole lot, especially between Jennifer and She-Hulk, between those two different personality lifestyles as it is. I think what the show is kind of like not doing too great with the blending of both of them. It's like there's always one outweighing the other, and if they do try to somewhat like balance it out, it's like not like the perfect balance. It's constantly going back and forth. So
Mm.
there's not really a whole lot going there for character development. Storytelling, it's still meant for me. Not really too exciting, thrilling, not having me itch to like wanting to come back. It's at this point just I'm coming back because like I want to see like obviously my favorite character coming back on screen, but also
Yeah.
like I'm already at this point in time where I've already watched like so many episodes beforehand. Um, I might as well just finish it out and see where it leads to. I'm hoping that they develop something more with the ending scene with
Oh,
with the
the whole
boss man.
syringe and them trying to get the blood and the whole thing online. I think that's definitely a big prevalent thing that they're building to now. Just seems a
Yeah,
little bit late in the game to be doing it, but I think that's definitely what they're leading to with these next 3 episodes. And depending on how they execute that part of the storyline and how much that's incorporated into these next 3 episodes as an arc, could play pretty well and could at least kind of give it a little bit more of a satisfying conclusion to where doesn't feels like the time you invested in it was like, okay, cool, we got a little something something out of that, and
at least
hopefully
something,
it'll
right?
end on a little bit of a higher note than it for you. You know what I'm saying? Than it has been up until
Yeah,
this point. You know what I mean? 'Cause I think you did enjoy the premiere quite a bit, but I think ever since then, I think you've been more like on the meh side of things. I
very
think for the
yeah,
rest of the run.
very much. Like at first when like from the premiere to now, I gave it like a huge chance. I'm like, all right, so they could easily make a story for the She-Hulk character. Maybe we get to see a lot more of her conflictions with her dealing with her day-to-day life, which we kind of do, but not really like fully
In a
blossom
deeper,
to.
more just a little bit of a more deeper, more dramatic way, in the sense of that like every MCU film kind of has that blend of that in the character's introduction. Miss Marvel with Kamala Khan, even Moon Knight, I thought, with Stephen Grant and essentially Mark Spector and everything like that. I thought they did a beautiful job of exploring both sides of those characters and that psyche, especially within the 5th episode of that series. WandaVision
Yeah.
is just a character study in and of itself, which makes it such one of the better MCU shows, I think, overall. In just that kind of character driven sense. Loki as
Yeah.
well, I thought, had a great new arc for Loki, and who would have thought they could come up with a whole new thing
In
for Loki at
2012,
this
yeah,
point? You know what I
especially in
mean? So that
2012.
to
So,
me just makes it even better. And obviously it's different creative teams and the writing and things of that nature with it. You got the Kevin Feige guru always in the room, but but just
yeah.
between that, those Matt Shackman, that's going to be doing Fantastic Four, really good stuff, really good signs for that. I think is going to bring a lot of that hopefully forward for Fantastic Four, but just did a great job with Wanda, man, getting a lot of
Right.
deep character development with her. I thought Sam Raimi did a pretty decent job in Multiverse of Madness of continuing the arc. I don't think in the smoothest way possible, but I think at least they went there, and at least Raimi and the writers actually kind of addressed that part of the storyline and gave it somewhat of a conclusion, at least for now. So that to me still feels more satisfying in and of itself. I thought Sam Wilson had a great arc becoming Captain America. I thought they did a great job with that. That's probably the strongest plot point and storytelling element of that series. And we're going to get more of that in Captain America 4. So I think most of the series have done a pretty good job with their characters and with their leads of making you care about them. You know what I'm saying? I think
Yeah.
the only series, yeah. Am I missing anything? Hawkeye. We always cared about Clint, but I think
Well, yeah.
Kate's introduction was awesome, and I think by the end of it, you got to relate to her character and what she's going through now that her parents are, one's dead and one's a villain and locked up in prison, and kind of going towards that evil path, and is kind of involved with her father's death to a certain degree and things of that nature, and held all that information from her. I think gave her a little bit more of a nice good character arc towards the end there, and and really grounded that character and gave her something to mature and something to move forward in,
Yeah.
and give her more to grow into that real superhero role. So I thought they did a good job with that. So Yelena Belova, they did a great introduction with her. Shang-Chi, So I think this is just one of those weaker things where we all like Jen. I think most of the MCU fans, I think they're more on the positive side of things and not on that negative degenerate side of stuff. That going open minded. I think all of us love Jen. I think we just want to get to know her more on a deeper, more personal level.
Yeah.
With getting to meet high school friends and family members and stuff like that. I just want to get a little more deeper than just the dating level, and get a little more
More.
stronger connection with her and Nikki and what bonds them. You feel the
Yeah.
connection, but I just want to get a little more insight in that and just get a little bit to more of that. I think that's the sitcom element they're missing. They're missing that character development. They're missing the dramatics of it.
Heavily, and they can try to go on the defense saying like, oh, like they can't. It's not really been done, but there has been multiple shows that has done
Tons of
that.
sitcoms, man. Full
Tons of
House, The Connors, aka Roseanne from back in the day, Fresh Prince of Bel Air,
Oh,
George
definitely.
Lopez. Man, the list goes on. Friends. Even for as silly as Friends can get, for one episode when Joey's over here messing up the couch or trying to chase a duck around, you got other episodes where people's grandmothers just passed away and they're trying to deal with that. Or you got, all the dramatic love stuff between Rachel and Ross and all this other stuff. At least there's something there. You know what I mean? You can get
Yeah.
invested in the character a little bit. Or how Monica, played by Courtney Cox, her mom is always favors her brother more than her and always is disapproving of her and doesn't believe in anything that she wants to do with her life. and never supported her, I think that's actually like a good character arc and like something that you can kind of relate to and stuff like that. I've seen that with family members I have in other instances. So I think it's
Yeah.
just that's what's missing from this. Everything else is fine. Just give me more of that and just give me like 10 to 20% of that overall. And I think we'll have a, like with the action and with the humor and with the MCU world building, I think that would just kind of balance out everything better, and we'd get something that overall is just a better dish that just really smacks the way it could. You know, it's a
Yeah.
decent. I'll come here and eat again, but it's just not going to be one of those main places I'm going to recommend for everyone to go check out necessarily, or the first place I'm going to go at the buffet of the
Right.
MCU. You know what I
It's
mean? So that's
it's
kind of where the show is at right now in these last couple episodes, man. It's just kind of hitting a little bit of a rough spot for me personally as well. And I
yeah.
didn't necessarily love this episode either. I liked it slightly more than the previous episode, episode 5, with all the Titania shenanigans and whatnot. But I don't know. I'm just not really. The first 3 episodes, man, were just hitting for me at a really great pace and really had a great mixture of tying into the MCU without relying on it, while
Yeah.
introducing us to Jennifer, giving us a sense of who she is as a character. Every scene she had with Bruce to me was either comedic or dramatic gold. I thought that was the best way to introduce the character. And we got a lot of insight into who she was as a person right there, but you got to give me more than just that one introductory episode, man. You got to
Yeah,
build
for
on
sure.
that. And that's the thing that I think they're losing a little bit of track of, where the first 3 episodes had a nice mix between the sitcom, comedic element, the dramatic element, the overall MCU world building and stuff like that, and just blending all these things together. But Tatiana Maslany remains a spotlight throughout this entire series. I absolutely love her, man. I'm checking out Orphan Black in the near future just to see her, because I got to see more of what she's doing, because she is awesome. She has so much chemistry with everyone she's on screen with, even in the sillier episodes in the last 2. I thought she had great chemistry with that dude that she was kind of getting a connection with at the thing. So I thought that played really, really well. And overall, I thought that was really dope. So, definitely not hating the series, but I am starting to lose a bit of my enjoyment with it. Where before it was really fun and it was really good, now it's like meh at
Like
this point
it's like a
where
meh
it's at right
situation.
now. But
Right.
but I just want to kind of, but I'm hoping these next three episodes can just pick up the pace a little bit and kind of give us that overall better mix like they were in the beginning, and just kind of bring it home strong. Because if they do in the next couple episodes, you know what I'm saying, I think it definitely will become something that I definitely will have a warmer reception to, but it definitely won't be my first choice, but I won't mind going back to it when I do as much. I'll
Right.
just skip these couple bumpy episodes. But let's just hope we hit a couple speed bumps on the road. Let's hope.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Because
Mostly.
at this point with the character, because like how we kind of talked off camera, I might as well just bring it up now about like thinking what they could use with She-Hulk. I'm seeing her like with how the show is doing right now, more of a cameo based type of hero, kind of like how they do with Bruce Banner and stuff, stuff like that, sprinkled along with throughout other heroes shows, movies and stuff like related to that. And it's only because like if they do, I can't really, unless like next 3 episodes kind of does set something up in that way, then maybe I could see a season 2. But if they do a season 2, I really think that they should kind of start with a clean slate with the writers' room, or actually get their focus together of what they want to do with the character. Because right now it just seems like the writing itself is just not. It's not. It seems like it's very unsync with what they were trying to display throughout, like as the series goes on. Even in episodic episodes, at least at one each episodes within other shows, there's some way that they can still relate with the character, and there's some development throughout the time frame and things like that. I think that's like would be like the only issue if they do decide to like kind of like make that season 2, is like they gotta address that, and then maybe that show could be more of a better
Yeah,
that
that's
better
the only
blend.
thing I think is really missing. I think everything else really works for the most part. I think it's just more
Yeah.
balance between your character development and a little more of the dramatic side of the MCU, just blended with the fun. I think is
Yeah.
all that it's mostly going for, and I think they want to go with the dichotomy and the identity kind of crisis that Jen is going through right now between Jen and She-Hulk. I just don't think they're nailing it enough to really make it like stick or really make it impactful. That's the only thing. I think it's there, but I think it's sprinkled in such a way where I'm not getting enough of that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? To where I'm going to get a deeper connection to the series. I like Jen, and I'm always going to like seeing her moving forward, but I want to get more of a deeper emotional connection to where if she's about to die in a moment in a big fight down the line, I'm really going to be like, oh shit, like I'm really on the edge of my seat, not just like, oh, I don't want to watch a hero die, but I'm really like, oh no, not her. You can go ahead and kill War Machine, don't kill her. That's the way you want to do it, or like, oh man, just don't kill my girl, like Wanda when with the way that things ended in Multiverse of Madness, I'm still like, oh, I really hope she's not gone for good,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like that's what you want to feel with your characters, and they've done such a great job in the MCU with that, with
With so
just
far,
about
yeah.
every character almost, man.
Yeah.
Even people like Darcy and why am I forgetting her name? And Jane Foster
Mm.
and characters like that, they've redeemed and even made better than they were before.
He
So
had
it's
another
like
character, yeah.
I just hope they can do that. They brought back Red Skull and all that kind of stuff. So I just hope they can really just amp this up a little bit towards the next half. But like you said, though, for sure, they definitely got to address that side of things. And if
Mm-hmm.
they want to move forward in a season 2 or a film capacity with just doing her story, and the one
Yeah.
person I would keep in charge, or at least in connection with it, is Jessica Gao. She directed and wrote, I believe, the first 2 to 3 episodes, and I think that was the strongest stuff in the show. So
Mm-hmm.
I personally think you would just keep her around and get a little bit of a new writer's room, and just keep that focus more on that character development along with your humor and your world building and your situational comedy. Just blend it all together a little better, man. Like we got to get a little more of that Family Matters and a little less of that Modern Family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like no, for sure. I think that's what they really kind of had to start focusing, because this is gonna be like the new upcoming generation of the Avengers coming up. Like the old cast, like we fell in love with those characters. Like when we found out in Endgame, like a lot of the OGs are gone that we seen from like pretty much building up to the Endgame point. It was like kind of a sad thing seeing Tony die, seeing Cap
For sure. Like kind of
officially,
hang it up. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, hanging up
retire.
the mantle, and finally end his storyline of him going back in time and being with the love of his life, even though like throughout the time he's been trying to be that be that role model and kind
The
of be
symbol
that
of hope.
positive, yeah. And then even though himself, like he wasn't fully satisfied because he's been so selfless throughout the time. He decided finally in Endgame like it's about time that I need to enjoy some of that
Do
life
something
that
for
Tony
me,
mentions
yeah. Which is
and
true.
juice, and it's which leads to that perfect end scene. I love that end scene for Endgame. That's why
Me
I
too.
feel like they had to get that addressed throughout
With
all these
Jennifer,
other
man.
characters with Jennifer, with
And with Nikki, and just let us get to know her family a little bit more too, and give us, and that can help kind of flesh out Bruce as well. So
oh
that's
yeah,
all I think
definitely.
is I think people like me and you, like we just want to get a little deeper under the surface a bit more. Like don't get
Hmm.
rid of the fun. Let's just get a little more, a little deeper with that stuff with the characters, man. But
Yeah, for sure.
you
Like,
know what I'm saying? Because I thought they were kind of doing that at first. That's why it's more like if they never did that at all, then it'd be kind of different for me. But I felt
hmm,
like the first 2 to 3 episodes definitely were focused more in that direction. Emil Blonsky getting to see where his character's gone, seeing what's going on with Jennifer and getting that thing with Bruce and all that kind of stuff, and introducing her whole her point of view and her perspective, her family. That stuff was all really working for me, man. But then it just kind of lost its focus a little bit. Kind of
for
like
sure.
me when I'm inside of like me when I was a kid inside of a toy store, I'd be like all over the place. Like, oh man, look at this. Oh shit, look at that. Oh man,
It,
let's go over here. Like it's kind of like that, It's like it's got ADHD right now
pretty much, dude.
a little
Pretty
bit. So
much.
it's like, okay, let's focus. Take your medicine. Let's focus. And let's lock in. You know what I mean? So it's like
Let's be
I'm rooting
steady.
for it. And I like I said, give me all the Jennifer Walters you want to give me in the future. Just you gotta give me a little more of the character development for sure, man. But yeah, man, it's
Yeah,
all right.
no, for sure.
I don't even remember what I gave the last episode, but I would give this one essentially the same grade, but I would watch this one over the next one.
You
But I
same
wouldn't say
grade.
it's head and shoulders above. So I'm probably give it just the same old 6 out of 10, 5.5, 6 out of 10. That's probably all I'm going to give this one as well. Nothing great, nothing to write home about, but it's a fun episode. And yeah, man, like I said, this is going to be one of those date night TV series, date night quick episodes you could turn on with your lady, with your friends, with your, all that good jazz, with your sister, your mother, your cousin, anything like that. I think it's gonna still be a fun watch. But I think just for me as an MCU, MCU fanboy, man, self-proclaimed MCU fanboy over here,
Mm-hmm.
this might not be my most anticipated thing, but I'm still looking forward to episodes 7 through 9, especially Matty Boy. I definitely want to see what the hell he's been up to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And getting that Daredevil Born Again set up between this and Echo and all that good jazz. And I think they're going to find a nice balance with him. And I think he's going to give this a little bit of a boost. And it does look like we're getting more focused on that blood storyline. So I think this might come together in a little bit of a better way. In the character development department, we don't know. But I think there might be a little bit of a more focused storytelling going on, at least with the plot. So I think if they can at
Right.
least give us that, it will definitely be a little more of an overall more positive experience for me, man. But yep, 3 great episodes. Three's not as great, but the fourth one is still pretty good to me. But yeah, man, so we're kind of a little bit of a half and half, a little bit of 50-50 right now with the series overall. For me personally, I think my boy Skips is a little bit, a little bit, I don't know, man, how you describe it, man.
It's like a man, because like I think if I had to,
Just
like,
man.
I'm thinking back, I'm thinking on
So
my
one, you're like,
greatest
okay,
goal.
I kind of see what you're doing, but after that, you're like, man.
Yeah, like I think for sure, like this episode dropped down to like a 4.9. It actually broke through the 5.
Damn.
It's like 4.8,
She-Hulk
4.9
fell in the
for me.
class, dog.
It's
oh
like,
man,
it's at that point for sure. Like how I mentioned to you off camera, like the furthest, like I can ever see this show getting a rating would be like the last 3 episodes, and it's never gonna be above a 5.5. They kind of like they kind of had to have
hot
that.
take.
They kind of had to have that like established halfway of a storyline to be development. So that's why I'm just like, it's for sure a 4.8. If they do everything like what I've been looking for and stuff like that, the highest it'll ever be is a 5.5, because I still gotta judge like everything else with the series beforehand. So a solid 4.8, 4.9. I'll give it a 4.9. I'll give it that.
Yeah, man. Like I said, man. I'm gonna stick with a 6. It's not going any higher, any lower. I think it's just kind of the same. Before I was at a good solid 7.5. Like I was enjoying the hell out of this thing, but yeah, it's dropped down to a 6 for me right now, man. And but yeah, I'm definitely rooting for it, man. And like I said, just to highlight it again, Tatiana Maslany as Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk, Ginger Gonzaga as Nikki, man. They're all killing it. I'm really liking them. And then Amelia, want to shout her out too. Renee, Elise Goldsberry. That's kind of like my highlights right there. I'm loving them, loving the performances, loving the chemistry. Just give me a bit more character development, y'all. We just need a little bit more of that and a little more of a focused storyline here. And I think we're going to end up with a pretty cool show on our hands, man, overall. But like we said, man, maybe it won't be the highest anticipated, man. And one thing we want to preview and tease for the future, y'all, we're going to treat you.
Right.
It's going to be like our D23 right here. We're going to do some MCU teasing right here. We're doing a big Phase 4 ranking at the end of the year, going into next year, between Christmas and New Year's. We're going to be doing an MCU Phase 4 ranking. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to be ranking all the shows, all the films, you know what I'm saying? And that's including the Guardians Christmas special, the Werewolf by Night Halloween special, and, of course, Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, baby. No duh. So all that's going to be in the mix as well. We're going to be talking about the whole big Phase 4. So it's going to be interesting to see where this ends up on the list for us. And I think our boy Miguel is going to be back.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait till we get back,
baby. He's back. It's been a long time coming. It's like
been
Kingpin
finding
and
the
Daredevil.
vibes.
He's going to be back. He's going to be back. So
Yeah,
by the
dude.
time we do that Phase 4 ending and the end of the year between Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, baby. So between Wakanda Forever and that big Phase 4 live stream, it's going to be some cool shit, guys. It's a big Phase 4 live stream. It's going to be awesome, man. And thank you for joining us on these recaps every week if you have thus far. And if you haven't, thank you for joining us on this one. Make sure you join us for the last 3, man. We're doing these every Thursday. We're going to be doing all 9 episodes of She-Hulk, y'all. And we're also doing weekly recaps for all the big week-to-week series going on right now. Pretty much, you know what I'm saying? House of the Dragon we're doing on Mondays. And we're also doing Andor, which just dropped this past week on Wednesday. And we'll be doing all 12 episodes of that. We got 9 more to get into here, guys. So make sure you don't miss out on any of that. And the best way to do it is to click subscribe right there below the video. And make sure you comment down below. We want to get into a discussion with y'all about all things in the fandom multiverse, especially in the world of the MCU and Jennifer Walters more specifically. So let us know. Spoiler ahead, man. Just spoil it away. Let's get into a discussion down below, guys. And make sure you download this on the podcast feed as well. We got some great content planned for the podcast feed. We got some audio only stuff coming, and we got a lot of new ideas what we've been brainstorming back and forth, and we're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff, guys, for the rest of this year. Spooky season right around the corner. Great stuff planned for that. It's going to be a lot of great fun, man. So you got any parting words for the day, my friend, before we sign off?
As always, be mentally and physically strong, and just have a great day / evening whenever.
Most definitely, whenever you're watching this. If this is 2025, make sure you had a good 3 years leading up to this point.
Yeah.
We're all over the timeline. We're Kang, baby. We're everywhere.
Oh yeah.
You know what it is, y'all. God. You know what it is. Man. So make sure you stay tuned. You don't sleep on anything we got going on over here. And until next time, y'all. Peace.
Peace out.